Hey everyone, welcome back to another segment of the MCR. Mac and I coming at you, trying a slightly different format. We're hoping this works. Okay,
Two different locations here. Like, share, and subscribe.
and we're trying the whole Skype thing, and we wanted to do a video in regards to what all was happening last week. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for your support. Please like, share, and subscribe. We're on multiple platforms. We're on multiple social media sites. And so with that being said, Mac and I wanted to talk about this whole Speaker of the House chaos, if for lack of a better term. And I had some thoughts about it. I know Mac does too. And so I'll just start off with Mac. My very first thought was, here we go again, next in line vote.
That's exactly right. That's exactly the way I saw it. The it's almost like a monarchy. The prince becomes the king.
Yeah, and you know, I don't necessarily hate McCarthy. I was almost neutral. Yeah, he might be establishment, or he probably is establishment, but I didn't necessarily dislike or hate the guy, you know.
Well, he seems like and I know you have to compromise in the House, and that's the only way you can get things done with the House and the Senate being divided. If you want to get anything done, you got to compromise. The problem I have with that is that it seems like all the compromising is always on our end. I think their version of bipartisan is we doing everything they want.
Well, it was just this. It was his turn. He's next in line, and us peasants need to get with the program, and that's kind of where it started with me.
Well, yeah, okay. I saw on social media, retalk, I was in a war with I don't know how many people. I had a whole bunch of people on my side, and it was just going back and forth about the people. We got to get it done. We got to get to work. And my question was, well, hold on. I said, what work is it you think he's going to do? I mean, is he going to do the work? Is he going to be a Mitt Romney, a Susan Collins, or even a Mitch McConnell now, you could say? Voting for that omnibus bill, which I did a video on week, and so everyone seemed to have a rocket up their derriere to get this done. Like that was the most important, because we're going to look bad. And I said, well, look bad to who?
Like a rush to posturing,
exactly that. That's exactly what I would call it.
Rush to posturing, so that they could, so that they could posture, and at the end of the day, what does that accomplish? Biden's president.
If your whole thing is symbolism over substance and taking the high road, I guess that is important to you, because you know what? You care less about the country than you do the image of the party.
Well, anyway, I have some theories. I have some suspicions. I was a little surprised that, and Marjorie Taylor Greene's the easy one. She seemed to be pretty much on board with McCarthy. That surprised me a little bit.
Well, the first thing that comes to me, it surprised me as well. And then I had to wonder, what did she get? What was in her stock?
Exactly. Well, leading to my next theory or question or whatever. Trump supported McCarthy, and I thought, well, maybe this is just his way of expecting some kind of payback once the presidential primary and that whole thing begins in a year or so.
Well, I'll tell you what, go into your theory, and I think you've been proven right already. McCarthy said Trump had a lot to do with getting this done and in getting him elected speaker. So there you go. Or here's another alternative theory you might want to consider, or we could consider. As someone online had said to me, this is Trump's way of exposing McCarthy.
Oh, yeah.
By this happening, everyone started to take a much not everyone, but those of us with a brain started taking a much closer look at McCarthy than we had before. You say you don't hate him, and I don't hate him either. I mean, but I'm not a fan. I think he's weak. I think he's going to bend over and do the Democrats' business like so many Republicans have done in the past.
See, I'm a Chip Roy kind of guy. I would have been thrilled with Chip Roy. You know?
Yeah. Well, we didn't. I'm a Jim Peterson guy. I'm sorry, Jordan Peterson guy. Get his name right. That would be helpful. Jordan Peterson guy. I like him. I think he's straightforward. He's about business, and I think that he wouldn't waste our time. And
Are you talking
he's
Jim
not
Jordan,
out
maybe?
to enrich himself either. I don't think.
Are you talking about Jim Jordan, maybe?
Jim Jordan. That's what I at first I said something else, but
you got
Jim
the names
Jordan,
confused.
What's that?
You got your names confused.
I did. Well, that happens as we get older.
But interesting observations. I was pleasantly surprised when the number actually grew. But so the number actually grew to 20, and that's when Dan Crenshaw started having his meltdown. And I don't know what kind of future Dan Crenshaw thinks he has now.
I'll be dipping into my pocket to give money to anybody that runs against him.
Yeah, I mean, in an interview, and I'd like to make sure I get this right. Guy Benson, is it maybe? Let's see. Yeah, Guy Benson on Fox, Dan Crenshaw, and this is some of the things he said. We cannot let the terrorists win.
See, just that kind of language right there is why he's deep state.
And just, of course, when there was a response to that comment, his response to our response, unclutch your pearls. It's a figure of speech. You can't insult, slander, and hold everyone hostage with no way out and not expect me to punch back.
Well, here's the thing, Dan, and here's where we're going to punch Dan Crenshaw in the face. He's clearly a hypocrite because he doesn't think calling us a terrorist isn't insulting.
Well, I'll tell you how another one of my theories as to why this finally came to a close was because, and I would say, given that fact that we're recording this on a Sunday, 2 nights ago, Friday night, it was like getting close to midnight thereabouts, a Republican representative, Richard Hudson, had to be correction. Richard Hudson restrained Mike Rogers from physically attacking Matt Gaetz when Matt Gaetz dared to vote present on the 14th round. So this Mike Rogers literally lunged for Matt Gaetz.
I believe Mike Rogers is from Colorado, correct? Have I had that right?
Mike Rogers.
It doesn't matter, I guess.
I'm not really sure. I'd have to look it up. I think that even surprised McCarthy. I think that's when everyone realized this could really get ugly. At this point, the word is McCarthy put into writing concessions. Now, could he still renege on his concessions? Yeah, but the Freedom Caucus, because really it's the Freedom Caucus that kind of was behind this. We'll say this effort. But one of the concessions he put into writing, I guess McCarthy, and this is another one of my theories. There was a little bit of payback going on also here because McCarthy had put a lot of RNC funds toward candidates, and the easy one to mention, there could be others, but the one right off the top of my head, Madison Cawthorn. Okay, Madison Cawthorn. McCarthy, it is well known that McCarthy put a lot of money into Madison Cawthorn's opponent during the primary season, and Cawthorn was a Trump supporter. He was a MAGA guy. He did say some embarrassing things, perhaps, but Cawthorn was a reliable vote for, we'll say, our side, and McCarthy spent a lot of money to primary him out of the office, and I don't think he was the only one. that clearly left a bad taste in a lot of the Freedom Caucus's mouth. And well, now there's
here
payback.
again, we'll thank Trump, and then we'll spend money to try to defeat his candidates. There's the hypocrisy that I'm talking about that I can't stand.
Well, in any event, yeah, it's when that fracas, we'll say, burst out. Finally, I guess five, maybe six. I don't know the exact count, but it was at least five from the Freedom Caucus ended up voting present. By voting present, that lowered the threshold that McCarthy needed to get to get the votes he needed to become Speaker. So Matt Gaetz and whoever else, and I would have to look it up, but they can say while they didn't vote for McCarthy, they didn't necessarily try to stop him either.
Well, here's the thing: they probably figured, what, this can only go on so long. Although I hear some number of years ago, I think it was in the 1800s, we had 133 votes, and it took 2 months. And I don't think the government ended, and I don't think the world ended.
Yeah.
I don't know if they got the guy they wanted in the end. I'd have to do some research on that. But one of the things that bothered me was as we said in the beginning, the monarchy type thing. I'm next in line. It can be no one but me, and there's to be no debate about it. You were just supposed to sit down and shut up and vote for the next king. And
us peasants need to get in line, and like I said, I really think that near fight might have been the point where cooler heads prevailed and said, okay, what do we got to do to end this? So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what else. It's going to be an interesting ride. I'll tell you that.
Well, once again, over the course of days, as this went on, people got exposed for what they are.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Gaetz kind of sounded a little nutty by nominating Trump, that was just ridiculous. He just made himself, and I don't want to get into the optics thing, but it made me shake my head. What is he doing? Trump doesn't want to be Speaker of the House. That's
well, I believe that was an in your face to the McCarthy gang. That's what I think.
Well, perhaps, but it was stupid in the heat of the moment. I thought I didn't think it was necessary, but it exposed a lot of American citizens that we have in contact with, who they're happy to be go along to get along. So when you ask why do we have these weak ass rhino like Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham and the usual suspects, Murkowski, Collins, it's because that's what the people want. They don't really want to be bothered with it.
Well,
they're tired. I heard someone say, I'm tired of it. Well, poor baby, you're tired of it. We got big problems in this country, and they aren't going to get solved by people saying, let's just get this over with.
Well, just remember, it was on the 14th vote, because it took 15 for McCarthy to win. It was on the 14th where Matt Gaetz dared to vote present, only for what's his name, and I'd have to look on my paper over there. Yeah. Lunging at him. There is some suspicion he might have been drinking before or after, shooting his mouth off too. But that's hearsay. So as to the accuracy of that hearsay, I don't know. But they do have video of him lunging at Matt Gaetz. That ain't hearsay.
That's something.
So that's all we got. Any final thoughts, Mac?
Well, I know it wore me out fighting all these people, but I felt it had to be said. I just don't understand, and I probably never will, that there are people who just don't know we're in a war. They don't care. They want to watch TV, eat hamburgers, and play the lotto, and anything else that happens isn't their business. Just let them take care of it. Well, only thing that's getting taken care of with Washington, D.C. is their bank accounts. You got Nancy Pelosi, who goes in there and makes 100 or 200 grand a year, maybe because she's Speaker, and is now worth $150 million. I mean, how does that happen?
And they dare go after the Wall Street guys for insider trading.
Or I'll tell you what, they sure went after Martha Stewart.
Yeah. Yeah, we're lying to the FBI. Wonder
Yeah,
what she's thinking right now.
These MFers lie like you can always tell the FBI's lying if their lips are moving.
So, all right. Well, if this has turned into a very long video, seldom do we make one this long. And if this format works, you could be seeing a few more of Mac and I doing it this way. It might be logistically easier for us on certain issues, especially like this one. So that's it. Any final thoughts, Mac?
No, I hope people let us know what they think. We'll see.
All right. That's it. Thanks, everyone. Catch you in the next segment. As always, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.